So I come to tell you He's alive, to tell you that He dries every tear that falls.
Hello, this is Clint Louie coming to you with 5 minutes from friendship. Thank you for being with me today. In the Bible, in the book of Esther, we learn of a man named Haman, and the Bible calls him in Esther chapter 3 and verse 10, the Bible calls him the Jews' enemy. He was their enemy. And I want to say to you and me that we all have an enemy. We all have a Haman that we deal with. Now, you may think that your enemy is maybe somebody else, that your enemy is some problem you're dealing with. And truly, we do have the world is at enmity with God. It's no friend of God's people. Truly, the devil is our enemy. But I want to speak to you about Haman. And I want to tell you what Haman means. He is a picture of our own flesh. He's a picture of our old nature. He's a picture of the sin nature. He's a picture of me. And you see, Haman is my great enemy. There is a Haman in all of us. There is a Haman in all of us. If you read about Haman's life, you discover the man was so full of himself. He was full of pride, ambition. He's a picture of the flesh. Haman was full of Haman. He loved Haman. And you see, that's the problem. There's a Haman in all of us. When I became a Christian, when I got saved, I mean by that when Jesus convicted me of my sin, that I needed to be saved, and I believed that Jesus died for me, and that He was buried, and God raised Jesus from the dead. When I became a Christian, when I got saved, there became in me, God put a new nature in me, the Spirit, but I still have that old nature in me, the flesh. And those two natures, the Spirit and the flesh, they're at war one with another. They're butting heads, they're battling. And I have a Haman in me. You have a Haman in you, and he's the great enemy. I want to say to you what must happen. Haman must die. Haman must die. I mean by that, we must die to self. I just came from a wonderful class where a dear pastor and preacher spoke to us about dying to self, and I am so very convicted right now because of how much I try to go forward in the energy of Clint, and how many programs and ideas and all the things that I want and I desire and I need, and all the while I need Christ to live in me. You know, there's a woman one time that she battled her way through the crowd just so she could lay hold of the hem of Jesus' garment. She had an issue of blood. She was sick. And she was growing worse and worse. And for her, it was a matter of desperation. I have to touch the hem of His garment. There's no other option. There's no plan B. I've got to get to Jesus. This woman was desperate. You know something I must ask myself and you? When is the last time we were that desperate for Jesus? No, we're content in the flesh. I'm content in the flesh. May I speak to us that are Christians? May I speak to you that are watching that call Friendship Baptist Church your home? Friendship and anyone else listening, we will never go forward in any meaningful way to the glory of God unless we die to self. I must die to self. Paul said, I am crucified with Christ. That's death to self. Nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. And the life which I now live, I live by the faith of the Son of God who loved me and gave Himself for me. Listen to this verse, please, in John 12:24. Jesus said, Verily, verily, I say unto you, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abideth alone. But if it die, it bringeth forth much fruit. There is a Haman, the flesh within all of us, but we must die to self. And I need you to pray that God would let me die to Clint, that Christ would live in me. There's a Haman in me. He's my enemy. Oh, let him be crucified. This is Clint Louie. God bless you. Let's die to self today and live unto God.